Surrendering for me does not mean bowing down in front of the feet of some dominant figure who tells me what to do, who tells me what's right, who tells me what's wrong. No, not at all. For me, surrendering means to step into the river and the flow of life, not to be dragged away, but to be in line and in sync and in the movement with the universe and with what wants to happen. Imagine, what if the universe is constantly telling you, hey, here's the path. This is what you can do. These are the steps that you're meant to take. And you're not listening, you're closing your eyes and ears and you're just like, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. It's still talking to you, right? If you want to believe in this. And I believe that there's, this one consciousness which wants to express itself through us. Welcome to today's Stream of Consciousness episode. Today I'm going to share my perspective on the topic of the art of surrender. Letting go in a society that loves control. I'm really looking forward to this. Let's dive in. So basically, we're finding ourselves in times in a society which loves control. I can see throughout this planet, throughout different nations and places on this planet, where people are showing tendencies more and more towards control, towards wanting to control what's happening. So that's what I see, what's going on in the world currently. And I want to share my perspectives on it of why this might be happening and the benefits of surrendering, what I actually mean by surrendering, and how we can live that and how this is connected to living our essence. So basically what I'm seeing is that more and more leaders also in society and organizations are showing these tendencies towards going back towards a culture of control. And I'm also always asking myself, like, what does this behavior serve? Because I always assume that there's some kind of intention behind that in a positive way that meets some kind of needs. And in this kind of behavior, what I see and what I assume behind is that there's a longing for safety, for feeling safe and secure, for having perspective, for, on the other side, not being overwhelmed, not feeling afraid of what might come, maybe not feel overwhelmed by all these different outcomes that certain situations can have. And by pulling the lever back to strategies that follow the paradigm of control, this comes, I believe, with this longing for, I just want to feel safe. I just want to feel stability. I want to feel that I have both of my feet on a strong foundation. So that's what I see what's happening. And as I've been working with many, many organizations and leaders in organizations, there has been this paradigm shift towards working more in agile ways. Buzzwords like new work are popping up everywhere, where it's about empowerment, about building more and more trust, about giving more space where people can actually take their own tasks and perform them like individually, but also in the way that they want to, with a high degree of alignment. So that's something that has been coming in the last couple of years in these cultural transformation processes in organizations and in leadership as well. And more recently, I've been seeing more and more that some of them have made steps in that direction of more freedom, more empowerment, more freedom to choose. And then other organizations, or even within the same organization, there's this movement back again towards safety, towards control. And that for me is a symptom that we're just like navigating currently as organizations, as society, through less known territory, where the need for safety and security is just speaking louder and louder and louder. So that's what I believe is behind this control. Because I also like to ask myself, like, which need gets met when a person implies control. When a person shows control to a certain behavior, what does that meet? What does that fulfill? And I guess it's safety and security. So this is my perspective on why I see more and more controlling behavior showing up in our society. And now I would like to share a little bit about my perspective on the art of surrender and why it makes sense to surrender, and to surrender to what, and how this is related with living your essence. So for me, I feel that when in order to live my essence, I need to let go of the fixed thoughts, the fixed idea of what I need to achieve or create or who I will be. I need to let go of that. And I feel that it serves me to surrender to a greater intelligence that can then move through me. And maybe these words sound super esoteric and abstract and spiritual to you. And in some ways, for me, it is something very spiritual, because I believe that if I deeply to surrender to what really wants to happen through me, then I can live my essence, and then I can serve in the greatest way to society, to others. And this is for me an act of listening and surrendering. Imagine, what if the universe is constantly telling you, hey, here's the path. This is what you can do. These are the steps that you're meant to take. And you're not listening, you're closing your eyes and ears and you're just like, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. It's still talking to you, right? If you want to believe in this. And I believe that there's, this one consciousness which wants to express itself through us. And for example, with me standing here right now, recording these podcast episodes, I feel that this wants to be created through me. I don't feel that I think about it and create it and it's like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I should record more podcast episodes. Okay, it also makes a lot of sense. But for me, it mainly comes from a different place. It comes from a place of listening and opening up to what wants to happen. And this is for me the art of surrender. Surrendering for me does not mean bowing down in front of the feet of some dominant figure who tells me what to do, who tells me what's right, who tells me what's wrong. No, not at all. For me, surrendering means to step into the river and the flow of life, not to be dragged away, but to be in line and in sync and in the movement with the universe and with what wants to happen. And I had this experience in a very profound way when I wrote my first children's book, Lara and the Wish Beings, on the topic of nonviolent communication, where I heard this voice saying to me, like, you need to do this. And not in a way like an angry parent, you need to do this, but in this is just what you need to create right now. And I didn't have a single doubt. It was a very crazy experience. And having these experiences more and more often. And I believe it's because I started listening more and surrendering to what wants to happen. And this is interesting because I find myself in this tension point, like the society that loves control and the art of surrendering. Every now and then I find myself moving between these two poles, if you want to call them like that. That if I look at many things that I'm doing through a lens of the I'm going to call it the mainstream society lens, then a lot of my actions would not seem logical or make a lot of sense or would seem strange, unfamiliar. And I can deeply connect with the sensation of, if I look at what I'm doing from a certain perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And at the same time, I'm so deeply connected with this that the trust in that there's a greater intelligence moving, wanting to move through me. And what I would like to introduce to you is belief systems, and that you can choose your belief system. And there are certain belief systems that serve you and others that don't serve you. And I don't want to imply I don't want to impose my belief system onto you. You can choose. And to me, this belief system that there's a greater intelligence that wants to move through all of us supports me. It kind of eases me because I know, I just need to listen and then follow. And that comes with a lot of insecurity and vulnerability because I don't know where I'm moving. And at the same time, I'm taking these steps. Yeah. So I hope this is inspiring for you. I hope that sparks like some own thoughts that you can create your own perspective and your own truth from that. And that you can shape a belief system that supports you in moving through this world. Because it's not that the society has all the answers and decides about what's right and wrong. It's also not that I have all the answers and that I get to decide what's right or wrong for you. Only you can decide that. And I really invite you to take this as an opportunity to craft your worldview that aligns with your values, where you feel, yes, that's how I want to move through the world in the most authentic way. And maybe you resonate with surrendering to what wants to happen. Maybe you resonate more with, no, I like to control things a little bit more because it gives me also a sense of safety. And it's totally fine. Like where's your sweet spot? Where do you find yourself? And most importantly, what feels authentic to you? Because what feels authentic to you will be closer to your essence. And it is the greatest joy to see people choosing their truth, whatever it is, as long as they're in touch with themselves. And then from this place, act and create. And I believe that if you're more in touch with your essence, anything that you will create will be beautiful for yourself, for others, and will be a huge contribution. And I invite you to step onto this path, surrendering to your own truth, surrendering to your own authenticity, detaching yourself from the validation of society, that there's a certain group of people who decide if what you do is good or bad, who wants to control that what you do fits into their worldview, and invite you to make your own choices. And I wish you from the bottom of my heart that you make more and more steps on this path, because I can share with you that I'm really excited about what I'm doing and what is being created through me. And it just feels like very alivening. It feels very vivid, feels very fluid and concrete at the same time. So I hope this episode was inspiring for you. The art of surrender, letting go in a society that loves control. Wish you all the best and looking forward to our next conversation in this Essence podcast.